What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Today's video, this is a donation request. This is for Brad Hart. This is actually Brad Hart's personal music that we're checking out today. Wow, incredible. So, Brad Hart hit me up and was like, hey, can you check out some of my music? I'm releasing something. It might be interesting for you to check out and put out there and, hear my comments and all that kind of thing. I said, yes, but it'll be honest. You know that. We're going to check this out. If you're new here, please subscribe. Check out my videos, all kinds of videos, reaction videos, bass videos, music videos. Check it out. If you like my channel, all kinds of ways to support the channel. You can hit super thanks underneath this video. You can hit me direct in the description. I got PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Amazon wishlist, mailing address, and I do donation requests just like this one. So if there's something you want me to watch, listen to, talk about, hit me direct, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo in the notes section. Leave a link, leave a description. Let me know what you want the video to be on, and I'll make the video. You can also email me at jpanreadsemail@gmail.com. Thank you guys. Everything's in the description. All right, so Brad Hart. We've seen Brad Hart, right? We've seen him in the comments section. I mean, I have. Anybody who's a regular commenter has seen Brad Hart, I'm sure. Brad Hart is a multi-instrumentalist, vocalist, and songwriter from Toronto. Oh my gosh, Canada. He has been seen behind the drum kit playing roots, pop, blues, soul, rock, and French cabaret jazz. He is an award-winning playwright who turned a vintage 1972 CCM Galaxy bicycle into an electroacoustic percussion instrument for the stage show Spin. That actually sounds really cool. The French cabaret jazz part, not so much, but that last part, yeah, that sounds cool. Notes Like Ghosts is his very first solo release. So this is an album that he just came out with, which I'll put a link to and all that stuff. This is his first album, and we're going to be checking out 2 songs. One in this video, one in another video. It came out June 1st. Okay, cool. So the song we're checking out today is, and I don't know anything else about this music. I don't know what kind of music. I know nothing, right? This is all the information that I have. So the first track we're checking out is called, we're going to do, you know what? I'm going to switch it up on you. We're going to do Owls and Fishes first. We're going to do Owls and Fishes first. Why? So, I mean, he sent me 2. He sent me the song Blanket and Owls and Fishes. And just because of the order on the album, I'm going to do Owls and Fishes because this is track 2 on the album. So we're going to check this out first. All right, Owls and Fishes. Let's get to it. Bam. Like a drum machine over here.
We sat together in the same hall, like owls and fishes, different but mounted to the same wall, against our wishes. But you showed me a different way to fix things left dead by decay. Even if at the end of the day the fisherman and the hunter don't care that we're up there crying, too stubborn or too unaware of the progress of dying. But you said the hunter only knows his gun, but we can choose not to use one. And I'll remove your hooks until there's none. Fishes and owls, we're not alone. Mooses and flowers, feathers will be ruffled again. As sure as the sun sets, and my scales will be scraped up in pain, rubbing up against regret. But we can just fly through the air, or swim till there's nobody there. And we'll find other creatures who care. We sat together in the same hall.
Okay. All right, there it is. Interesting. So this is like I don't know, it almost reminds me of like it's like indie singer-songwritery kind of, you know, because it has like the quirky sounds. That reminds me of like just indie, like indie kind of stuff. For some reason, Sufjan Stevens pops in my head. I don't know why. There may be no reason for that. The vocal is super upfront. It's really dry, right? Which is fine because there's a lot of just other kind of wet things in the back, right? I think overall it feels kind of flat. And what I mean by that, now I may be wrong, right? I always may be wrong. Always keep that in mind, right? I may be wrong about everything, okay? The reason why I say it sounds kind of flat is because the music sounds flat, like it. I don't know if that specifically has to do with production. It might actually. It may have to do with the production, right? Is that it just feels very flat. It doesn't feel like it's like undulating and moving and dynamic. Dynamic is really what I mean. Obviously, there are parts that are back there and moving, but they feel static. Like they come in, they come out, and just where they are is where they stay. Even though they may be moving, where they are is where they stay. Does that make sense? That's how I hear it. This is fine. It's this cute little lyric video, right? I like how it dimmed down during the musical sections. That was cool. Maybe I shouldn't have been paying attention to the lyrics. And once I saw that there were lyrics on there, I was like looking at, and you know how I am with lyrics. I might get distracted by it's too much for me. And then I'm like reading into things or something like that. I'm just like, no, I'll just pay attention to music. Yeah, I thought it was fine. You know, I mean, that's basically what I would have to say about it in terms of critique. It didn't feel like it went anywhere. You know, like it just kind of stayed. That's kind of just adding on to the flat talk, right? Is that it's just things come in, they come out, and they just stay where they're at, right? Not going anywhere, right? It didn't feel like there was an intense amount of dynamics making it interesting in that kind of way, where it feels like where there's like a clear climax to the song. It didn't sound like there's like, you know what I mean? Another way of saying it's flat, right? There was no, where's the peak in the song, right? In the production, right? It's not just a song. You can write for these things. You can write music where regardless of how it's played or performed, for the most part, you're going to have peaks in the song. You can write for that, or you can manufacture it production-wise by, you know, whatever recording techniques, you know, just like mixing and things like that, where you're making things bigger at certain points and smaller at different points, right? You can kind of do it either way. But that's what I'm getting at about this, is that it feels like where's the peak? There's no peak. And that's not to say that everything needs to have a peak and all that kind of, you know, I'm not saying that. You could do what you want, You know, like you could do what you want. But that's my critique on this. Is it feels like it feels like it's flat. Like it needs to do something. Like it needs to go somewhere. Like it needs to move more. It feels very just that's fine. Like a melody, all that kind of stuff is all fine, right? All that's fine. Yeah. There it is. There it is. All right. While most of my creative energy has gone into being a collaborator and side person on many people's music projects, for some time I have been picking away at a collection of songs of my own, adding an organ track here, a chorus there as time permitted with no immediate sense of urgency, spending lots of time on stage and rehearsal rooms and studios with other artists can actually function as a type of school, gleaning skills, knowledge, and inspiration as you go, and those lessons began to inform the songwriting on what would become Notes Like Ghosts. Although I've played in a wide variety of genres, predominantly as a drummer and percussionist, a large portion of the music I've played has been guitar-driven, rootsy singer-songwriter material. In an inverse kind of way, this also inspired the direction of Notes Like Ghosts, in that I wanted to create something very separate from the oral landscape of the music I have been most associated with. And so I continued to record parts for songs as they came, completely foregoing the guitar, my second instrument, choosing instead to create layers upon layers of sound using various keyboard instruments. At the center of much of the record is the mellotron, a keyboard instrument that is often described as the world's first sampler, originally using physical tapes with recordings of various instruments on them, many of them orchestral. The mellotron was the cutting-edge choice in the 60s for creating bigger arrangements than a regular band could manage. Think of the flutes at the top of Strawberry Fields Forever or the string section on Space Oddity. What is interesting about a piece of forward-thinking technology like the mellotron, or really any technology at all, is that it ends up becoming usurped by better things. Digital instruments now can recreate the sound of, say, a vibraphone with such incredible fidelity that it is literally indiscernible from the real thing. Because of this, the mellotron's value, as with many vintage instruments, is actually to be found in its limitations. To my ear, a mellotron violin doesn't sound like a violin. It sounds like a violin speaking to us from another time, as if coming through an old transistor radio. I think this almost real but somehow not quite quality gives Notes Like Ghosts a slightly ethereal, otherworldly sound that marries very well with the lyrical themes of the record. As my graphic designer said to me after she listened to it, it makes me feel nostalgic, but I'm not exactly sure what for. So Notes Like Ghosts was a record that I intended to get around to producing someday, always prioritizing collaborators' work over my own artistic vision, and then I got cancer. Ooh, we're getting real now. Cancer diagnosis shifts your perspective on many things. It is actually an incredible opportunity to learn and to reassess things, especially after the initial shock has worn off a bit. The overwhelming fear of your own mortality releases this constricting grip on you. Suddenly became very clear to me that Notes Like Ghosts was not just going to be my main and for a good while only artistic focus. It was also going to be a lifeline for me. Tumor that my oh boy, we're getting real here. How long is this? Oh boy. A surgeon removed from me and had released this DNA into my bloodstream, and so 6 months of quite intense chemo was what I had in front of me. It was an exhausting, grueling time, and somehow I instinctually knew that making this record would be hard. I remember worrying an essential, gathering all the disparate tracks I had made and organizing them was a big chunk of the work, but ironically, the two elements of recording that still needed to be completed were those that are physically the most taxing, singing and drumming. During my cancer year, I had many days where climbing my stairs was a totally draining activity. So figuring out a schedule where I could find days to lay down a lead vocal, or sit behind the drum kit for an hour or two at a time was a real challenge. There were moments of extreme frustration, my body communicating to me that it was now in charge of me and not the other way around, but at the expense of perhaps putting too dramatic a point on it, I was also aware that it was providing me with the will to live. That likely sounds hokey, but music is everything to me, and if going through cancer did anything positive for me, and it did, it brought breathtaking clarity to what is superfluous and what is indispensable. Notes Like Ghosts is not a cancer record. I did not write these songs in the aftermath of the doctor telling me something I couldn't believe. However, the creation of this album helped me get through the hardest year of my life. Songs are more empathy, about support and love, and about the incredible power that music itself possesses. All these things which I wrote about prior to my diagnosis came into a shaper focus than I could have possibly imagined. After that, I was left with the overwhelming awareness that notes are, in fact, like ghosts, that they traverse history and that they carry freight, some of it good, some of it bad, and all of it with direct access to our hearts. It is my sincerest hopes that the album communicates these things to you as well. There you go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just go into it knowing that I already have cancer and it's just not active. That's just how I see it. Everything in our environment gives us cancer. We have, to me, it's like we have cancer. Is it active or not? Some people it gets activated, other people it doesn't. What are the odds nowadays? Is it 50%? I don't know. I'm not I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I don't know. Just read things on the internet, right? So, yeah, tough. Yes, and we inevitably all get older, and at some point it's over. So there it is. Okay, so there's the song Owls and Fishes. There it is. All right, up next we're gonna check out the song Blanket off of this album. Cool, coming at you. Up next. Catch you then. Later.